Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Clare, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt-out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. Hello and welcome to this session on an end to being triggered from a three principles perspective. And it's a really fun topic, is this, because for me anyway, I hope you're going to find it fun and useful too, but for me it's been one of the biggest, probably the biggest transformations I've experienced in this three principles conversation, because I would have said a lot. So and so is triggering me, so and so is making me feel a certain way, that person out there is creating my experience in here, making me feel something. That was how I lived my life, really. And as a result of that, I tried really hard to get people to be different, to behave differently, to act differently. Just a lot around control, because they were triggering me. So the only solution to that, of course, looks like they need to stop it, the person, or the sometimes I guess it feels like we're triggered by circumstances, but for me it was more people, really. And it really looks that person needs to buck their ideas up, doesn't it? And so I spent a lot of time trying to control those people, those circumstances, those situations, so that I could just feel better, really. So that's the first thing to make absolutely clear in this conversation, is that nobody out there ever makes you feel anything. End of. There is just, if that's the way it looks to you in the moment, that's human. But also it's a beautiful place to get curious, because nobody out there makes you feel anything. And one fun physiological way to talk about this is that if you're feeling an emotion in your body physiologically, that's because there's a system being activated. There's perhaps adrenaline or cortisol flowing in your system, and that is creating this discomfort. But when you realize that isn't coming from out there, and it can't come out there from out there, because that would, let's say it's my ex-husband, or somebody else's ex-partner, or whatever, it's a person in my life that I think's triggering me, creating this feeling in me, then that would mean that person really would have to come and find some means to put adrenaline and cortisol or whatever else it is into my system. Well, do they have a syringe? While they're doing this behavior I don't like, are they syringing me with those hormones? And not, are they? So there must be an internal system at play in order to feel that initial reaction to somebody. So the great thing about that initial reaction is that it's just your system's like amber warning light. I've started calling it it's your amber lie detector, because it's letting you know that you're starting to go into a story of some description. Now, the story itself may not be conscious at the moment at which you get that initial feeling, or that initial upset feeling, or whatever you might call that feeling. It doesn't really matter what the feeling is, to be fair. They're all made the same way. So at that initial moment when you're experiencing that's your amber lie detector warning lamp going off. It's letting you know that you're starting to go into some kind of old pattern that you've been in many, many times. And And what's cool to see about that is that you've been in it many, many times. It won't be the first time that you've been triggered, in inverted commas. It won't be the first time that that particular person seems to be making you feel that particular way. You will have come across that many, many times before. And it may well be that as a result of believing that people out there are making you feel something, that you have made a lot of changes in your life. You've made your life smaller. You've left situations and put yourself in positions that are perhaps not particularly helpful for your the rest of your life. You know, if you're giving up a job because it looks like somebody somewhere is triggering you, then, maybe that's not it might be the best thing, but it's about realizing why you're making that decision, really. So that initial feeling is just letting you know nothing about the other person, nothing at all about the other person. It's letting you know what your relationship is with what they're doing, and it's a warning. It's a warning about your state of mind. And once you start to see that, very different things occur to do in life than would probably occur to do if you thought it was them. Like, whenever we think it's the outside world, we shift the outside world, don't we? We shift our where we are physically in relation to the outside world. So that might mean leaving something or someone or changing our situation or, and we can keep doing that over and over again. There's people about who are moving countries, houses, jobs, partners, time after time again, because it looks like the world out there is making us feel a certain way. And for me, that was a career jumping up the ladder, a rate of knots, thinking that, oh, I'll finally get to a career point that makes me feel okay. Um, there's that it was related to chasing money. It was related to changing relationships, avoiding people who I thought were problematic to me. And really, what we're doing there is shrinking our life. We really are. And so when we feel that feeling and we think it's coming from the outside world, that's what we'll do. We'll take some action in the outside world. It might just be to speak rudely to the person or shout at the person who's doing the thing or, run away from them or whatever. It, it can be all sorts of things, but it's outside in the world. So that's another really useful that's like an extra little amber warning light, really, is that if you're feeling uncomfortable and you think it's coming from the outside world and it looks like you need to change the outside world to feel better, then you're not you're looking at it from an outside in perspective as opposed to an inside out perspective. Now, what occurs to do when you realize it's not you, it's not them, sorry, that this is an internal system. Not that you're doing it, because it's not you either. You're not making a decision to be in this place of reactivity, to be triggered, if you want to call it that. But very different things occur to do when you realize it's your state of mind. And I've shared this story before, but I'll share it again. But there's I've spoken before about a difficult relationship in my life that has to be because it involves somebody's contact with their child. But, this person would regularly write super ranty messages to us, particularly on a Sunday night after we'd apparently done the weekend with the child wrong. And, I would invariably previously react to that. Long WhatsApp message comes in, I send an equally long one back. She then sends another one, I send another one. It just would go back and forth, and the energy of it was just awful, and it really wasn't helpful for the child, who was the most important person in all of this. And then the first time I saw it in the moment, well, it changed everything. It was like an insight, really. It was a big insight in the moment, and it changed my ongoing feelings towards this person, I saw one of those messages and I heard a voice loud and clear in my head say, "You're not really in a fit state of mind to answer that message. You're wound up. Go away, leave it." And I put my phone down and I did just go away and leave it. And it was really so amazing to see. So the message was still the same message, remember. Nothing has changed in the outside world. That person has still sent that rude message. And I remember walking, putting my phone down and going and eating an evening meal and just chilling and watching a bit of telly and stuff. And then I looked at my phone again later and just felt nothing. Apart from compassion, really, because I could see there's a woman here who has a lot of concerns about what's happening to her child over the weekend because she can't control it. There we are again. She thinks she's being triggered by what we're doing. I can only assume, having read her messages. I'm making that up, but and I don't have to join the party. And it's really interesting when we stopped going back with anger and upset and I'm triggered, so this person needs to know about it, it fell away. Now that it's not complete, there's still some issues, there's still some messages, there's still some upset. But my goodness, it is a minuscule in comparison to what it used to be like. It really is. It really is a completely different thing now. And how we respond now is just like we keep it very simple, very practical. We don't, there's nothing to do when somebody's upset. It's just let them be upset, really. They're nothing to do with us. And that's transformational to see that nothing changed. The message was still there. The same words were still on WhatsApp. Nothing had changed at all. But our relationship with that completely changed. And that was really amazing to see. Really amazing to see. So it's just so helpful to see this, to navigate life, because that's all we're doing really here is bringing more ease to navigating life. People are going to turn up in our lives and be difficult and and do things we don't want them to do and all of that stuff. That is part of life. But it's really how we are in relation to that changes our life and makes it easier. So I hope you can see, even just in that one little interaction there that I've described, suddenly there was a lot less to do. And previously I would have spent ages trying to formulate the right words to get her to change, to get her to stop, to get her to it would have taken a lot of my energy and it would have been exhausting. Sometimes I used to lie awake, not being able to fall asleep because I'm thinking about how I'm going to let her know that she's out of order. No more. Much more peace. And really, isn't that what we want? Just have a nice relationship with life. So I hope you found that helpful today. It's gone on a bit longer than normal, hasn't it? But yeah, please do check out my course on Insight Timer, Revealing Your Full Potential with the 3 Principles. That's really a conclusion today to this exploration around revealing our potential. And starting next week, we're going to be looking at productivity. So if you just like to have more ease around productivity, not be caught up so much in endless tools and techniques and structuring your entire day to death, if you'd like to find out more about that, then please do join me going forward on this next exploration. And there will be a course next Thursday, the first week of July 2023. The new course will be out on Insight Timer. So whenever you're listening to this or watching it, you'll be able to access that course. And that's going to be called Stress to Success, a 3 principles approach to effortless productivity. So I'm really looking forward to you hearing that. So take care, everyone. Lots of love. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now
but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Clare Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.